Davinci versus Premiere on a few items. The first one is autosave. So where do we find the autosave? So in Davinci Resolve, we go into Davinci Resolve Preferences, User, Project Autosave, Project Save and Load. So this is where we set our location, and ideally you want to have it on a separate location as your main projects in Premiere, in Davinci Resolve. So in Davinci Resolve, where do we find where our main projects are? We go into the Home button, we click the local database, and this is where you can reveal where your main projects are automatically being saved. So again, preferences to set your autosave. And Home button to see where your local database is, probably on your main hard drive that runs your computer. And then with Premiere Pro, it's slightly different. The autosave will be in File, Project Settings, Scratch Disks. So this is where your autosave is set. And this is where your render files. You can set your render files and your capture files and your CC libraries, downloads, motion graphics, templates, and media. And back to Resolve, if we want to do our render files and proxy media, we go to Davinci Resolve, Project Settings, Master Settings, and they will be under here. This is where your optimized media and render cache is. And this is where you set your proxy generation, cache files, and gallery stills location. Generally, I try and do proxy location next to the original media, so it's easy to organize. And now when we go to cache, back to Premiere, slightly different. We have to go to Premiere Preferences, then Media Cache. So this is where we save our cache files, and we select where we want to save. And we can delete our cache files if we need to. And for After Effects, I usually save my cache files on a separate disk for speed, but for Premiere, I usually just leave it in my user folder. Okay, one last quick tip. If you want to select where your proxies are going to go, you go into Davinci Preferences, Media Storage, and right here you can select 3 different options. You can select the proxies to automatically go into media file locations. This is next to your original media. Or you can use the project settings, which in some cases might not be go where you want it to go. Or you can ask when creating. This is a good one because then it keeps you always aware of where your proxies are going, and it prompts you right away, which is good. And in Premiere Pro, when you create proxies, it automatically prompts where you want it to go, and the default is next to the original media, or you can select where you want it to go individually, which is a slightly less options than Davinci Resolve, but it's great that it prompts you each time that you create proxies.